Welcome to SelfCare Tuesdays with KKM. SelfCare Tuesdays with KKM is a podcast about three women with different lifestyles raising awareness on the importance of self-care to reach one's highest potential. Now here are your hosts, Kat, Krista, and Maria. Hi everyone, welcome to episode 1. Today we're talking about writing as a technique for self-care. So Maria is the writer of the group. Talk to us about how you use writing as self-care for you.
So writing to me is very therapeutic because it's a way for me to express myself in my own time. And writing to me is a solo activity that I definitely need, whether it's once or twice a week. I try to write every day, but sometimes it's just very hard to schedule that in, especially when my days are all over the place. But writing is a form of self-care because it's a way to also put out your feelings, your thoughts, your emotions on paper, a way for you to document that and sort of see what you're going through.
Awesome. How about you, Krista? I like what you said when we were talking about it earlier.
It's actually a real technique. It's actually a real therapeutic technique as far as therapy session goes. It's actually one of the most easy techniques that I give to my clients. However you are feeling at that moment, whether you are angry, pissed off, or sad, you it's a transference of energy. I am in the world of energy, so you do not want anything bottled in. And so one way to do that is to not suppress it. Let's just say you are angry at your boss, or you're angry at your sister, or whoever it may be. You don't have, it's not easy for you to have them in front of you and say all of this, because now that you're reactive, you're not responsive. So what you want to do, however, is then put it to an innate object. It's paper. An innate object. So you are now transferring that energy that you have all in here and pushing it up to that.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So it's a really, really cool technique. Now after that, I've had people crumple it, throw it, burn it, soak it in water. There's so many different ways.
Oh, that is a good way to actually get
I would like to burn it. I know that sounds a little morbid. I would like to burn the paper but I might burn the house down, so water works.
Yes, I was thinking about that too. I was like, how do I burn this?
Or you could bury it in earth. Yes.
Okay, I will definitely soak it in water once
water's easier.
Safer.
Safer.
Right, and but all throughout this whole entire process, you have to make sure the intention that you want to produce out of this.
It's pure.
This ritual or
balance.
Whatever you say, whatever this practice is, this technique is balance and is, what you want to push out. Yeah. So burning can also be because you're angry, but burning can also be a ritualistic where you give it out to the universe and you're letting the universe handle it.
I'm an Aries, so I'm fire. I think that's why I like the fire part.
Yeah. And it's a very, that's pushing, right? It's great. Water is actually more for writing your wishes down or writing manifestations down. Then you put it in water and you put it in a freezer, and it kind of holds that tangibility and that intention in a little bit longer so that it can fully manifest.
Oh, I love
That's what
that.
the water is about. Yes.
Okay.
And then the burying part is just pushing it out into Mother Nature. Again, you're going to constantly hear me talk about your source, and, I believe in God. I believe in all forms of higher power. But I also believe in energy, and the source to me is connecting to Mother Nature. And whenever you are unhinged or detached, it's because some way, somehow you have disconnected from your source. And in a way to do that also is just, when you're pushing this writing out on a piece of paper and when you bury it into the ground, you're somehow rebalancing yourself out by reconnecting to source.
That's such a beautiful ritual.
Yeah.
How often should people be conducting that sort of...
I can go on forever with this topic because I am also follow astrology and all of that, and I always do a ritual on the full moon and the new moon. But as a technique on its own, you can do it anytime, any day, 5 days. Yes, it's just so important to do so. To the law of attraction works that way. Not to bottle it in, but to push it out to the universe. Okay. However, that is going to work. Do so. Yeah. Release it. It's just a way of release.
Yeah. So how? I just have a quick question as far as ritual with. I come from a spiritual background as well, but from the church, right? So how do the two worlds combine? For those who are, that don't believe in burning and fire, that ritual, how does that relate? How can that
This is why I speak of it as an energy standpoint. It's energy standpoint. Energy speaks through all religions and through all spiritual aspects. Absolutely. It is. Mm-hmm. We are, in fact, energy. Physics has proven that. Mm-hmm. Okay? Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. However, we can gather, cultivate, and move. This is the technique of moving energy.
Mm-hmm. Love it.
And this technique is specifically about moving energy.
Okay.
So Maria, in your world and in your aspect, when a client comes up to you and says, why am I not getting that promotion, or why am I not getting ahead in where I'm supposed to be? And you suggest writing. Mm-hmm. Can you explain more about that?
Yeah, sure. And in terms of clients, what they usually come to me for is how they can best promote their business and also engage their target audience. So for me, it's important to write down my I'll have a to-do list, things that I need to gather, like what is the objective. I always write down what is the objective, what does success look like to the person asking that of me. And from there, I actually ask myself a set of questions. Asking yourself questions as you write allows you to really explore the next steps and what you can provide to the recommendations to the client, what kind of challenges may come up. And I think writing those types of questions down will allow you to gather as much information as possible. So I once I write down the objective, what the success look like, I write a bulleted list of when is this due, when is the deadline. I always attach things with a deadline, and with that deadline, what can I envision out of it. So writing all of that is important, because as great as it is to talk about it during meetings and brainstorming, having everything listed down and documented allows you to measure your goals. There's a progress to be followed. So that's something that is
really cool.
Vision is key, and that's
vision
is key. What it is.
Right.
It's vision. You have to have a vision in order to execute.
There's an overarching goal to be achieved, but in order to achieve those goals, there's a set of things that you have to list down, because it's like a path. It's like you have the beginning, you have the middle, you have the end. And as you said, Kat, there's an end to things when that's where you envision the success, and this is what success looks like. But what happens in the middle and what happens in the beginning, allowing yourself to visualize the end goal can help you visualize the challenges that may occur in the middle of things.
Okay.
Or in the beginning.
Yeah.
Good.
No, I mean, it just reminded me, I was a huge, goal oriented, I would write my goals down. I mean, since I was a child, I suppose, but really my most monumental event was when I was 17, and when I decided that I'm gonna do hair, and this is what I'm gonna do. But the only way, of course, type A Krista, Alpha Krista is okay, for my family to accept this, right? Because Filipinos, you gotta be college bound. You have to have your degree, and I was blessed enough to be able to join cosmetology in high school for free. And so I realized that it was a way for me to financially take care of my siblings, because I had no parents. So I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. I was making money. I was able to support my siblings throughout high school, support myself throughout high school. But I was like, at 25, my goal is to open my own salon. And I wrote that down. And I didn't put it in a plaque or anything, but I did. I released it out to the energy.
That's so true.
And 25, I did. I don't know how I did it. It just happened, right?
Yeah. Was it always in the forefront of your mind? Was it tangible to you? When you write down a goal or whatever, the energy that was put behind it, did you believe that at 25 that this is what was going to happen?
Yeah.
Or were
even
you
at
scared?
17? No.
because I think that the faith that you put behind what you're writing down is also key. Like,
right, the
because
intention.
the intention behind it. Yes, intention is everything. So you can say, yeah, you know, my goal is to have something material or a certain amount of money in my bank account by a certain time, but if it's what's the intention behind it, what's the purpose, like so that's just as important, and even in your writing. So when you're writing as a therapeutic form, because I feel like we went back and forth between two forms of writing. So one is like goal oriented and getting that out so that way it's flushed out, and then the other one is emotional writing. No,
well, therapeutic in a way. Both are techniques in different worlds.
Yeah. I think when you look at it this way, like, what does writing essentially? What is the purpose of writing? It could be whether you're in a conference room, in a classroom, or writing at home. Like, what is the goal of writing? The reason why we write is to release.
Yes.
And to put our thoughts on paper. And why are we putting our thoughts on paper? We're putting our thoughts on paper because we want to manifest it in some way. And when people hear the word manifest, I feel like they're like, why is she talking in magical terms? But I honestly feel that even when I'm in the office and I'm writing my goals down and I'm helping clients achieve, you know, whatever it is that they're trying to achieve for a specific campaign, it's important for me to write that down because it brings it to life in a way that I'm able to measure it. As I mentioned earlier, there's a progress to everything, and I think writing is the first step into making something
getting it down tangible,
just
a little bit more tangible once you write it down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, is there anything else that you guys want to share on writing as self-care?
In terms of writing, having a gratitude journal is something that you need to.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I think it's something that a lot of people, not that they overlook, I just don't think people have time or they don't schedule it, they don't add it to their schedule. It's something that is important because you're able to actually see the good things about your day, and when you see that and you write it down, you actually attract it. And you attract it because you're filled with all these good thoughts about all the good things that have happened to you throughout the day, and it just brings in more positive energy.
That's what it is.
That is what I believe.
Positive energy.
It cultivates positive energy.
Well, then I go to my, in the energy standpoint, if you actually say grateful or thank you, I'm grateful, I am thankful. If we had, there's actually a machine or an instrument that measures your energy and your vibrations, and it is so cool. It is so cool.
We should have one.
I'll probably bring one.
Oh, we should definitely.
Okay,
but if you say, "I'm thank you, I am grateful, thank you," your energy and vibration automatically switches.
I love that. But you gotta feel it in your like.
It doesn't. It's almost like the amen and the om. And right, so the om, it's really people don't say amen because but it's the vibrational frequency. If you really research the behind it, it's all what you say, what you push out is the vibrations. But when you write it down, as long as the intention is about gratefulness, is about thankfulness and light. Your vibration automatically changes.
Yeah. Well, that's how it is for me. So I love the team that I work with at the DeVoe group. Little shout out. They're amazing. So they do this thing called GIJs, and it's grateful, and you write 10 things that you're grateful for, 10 intentions, and then 10 joys. So I started doing it. I mean, I used to write in a grateful journal, but I think just being a part of the team and everyone keeping each other accountable, it kind of made me focus in on it again. And it's the most amazing thing. I do it in the morning before I meditate.
That's awesome.
And I find the most random things to be, because it's 10. 10's a lot of things to be grateful for, I'm like, sometimes I could only come up with 3. I'm like, I'm glad I woke up. I'm glad I have a family and a house. And then I sit there, okay, what's the next 7? But then I like coffee, thank you for coffee, or like a shower. You just, and then you start to really think, like, there's so much to be grateful for.
And writing it down puts it in front of your face as if it's staring back at you, and you're like, all right, and this is fucking awesome.
Yeah, and then you look at it, you're like, wow, I got 10 things to be grateful for. How can I complain about anything moving forward for the rest of the day? I mean, you will. It happens because life is what it is, but you started off like that, and that's kind of like the vibration that you go throughout the day.
One thing I have to point out when you mentioned about corporate world and writing, I know I started off with talking about clients and helping them with their progress, but I think from a self-care perspective, there's a way to self-care while you are in the office. I think it's scheduling in 30 minutes out of your day to just review what your accomplishments are or were for the past week. And I think it's a way to take inventory of the mini wins and even challenges just to see how far you came within like during that week. I think it's important to do that. During my team meetings, I always like to, and whenever I lead one of our team meetings, I always talk about, well, what are our wins this the past month or the past quarter. It helps us to recognize all these accomplishments.
Progress.
And I think progress is the word.
And that's key too. I mean, that'll be another podcast, I think, just celebrating your wins.
Yeah.
But that's super important for self-care.
Yeah.
But so writing down things for self-care is important because you'll get to see it, you can reflect on it, you can go back. Journaling is another thing. Journaling is an amazing thing.
Yes.
And if you don't have time to journal, even one sentence about your day, like,
I'm pissed. I'm not writing.
Yes,
yet.
Exactly. No. Even if you are pissed, and this is what I'm saying. Like, it's not just about writing. It's not just about like, oh, let's be grateful, right? It's also, hey, when you're pissed and you're angry, write it out.
Yeah.
Write it out.
Yeah.
You're sad. Somebody just passed away. I always, me being a medium, I always obviously have a lot of clients that come in who needs help in. Who they know is going to pass away in a week. And actually, in my case, I knew that my uncle in the Philippines, was going to pass. Like the priest was there and everything, and so I wrote a goodbye letter. And it's real. Again, energy is not bound by time nor space. Energy is not bound by time nor space. So even though I knew my uncle was all the way on the other side of the world, I knew that writing this goodbye letter was going to send to him anyway.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
And it is an actual technique that I do give to my clients who come in and they're distraught. They know that they're going to lose their mom, their dad, and they just don't know what to do. And I would calmly just say, write a goodbye letter. Write a goodbye letter. Right?
Yeah. I'm the cry of the group, clearly, because I'm already tearing up. That's beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing, and it doesn't have to, yes, it's sad, but it's also liberating.
Yeah.
You're taking all of this angst and all this energy that was bottled up, and now you can fully say it. Put it out there.
That's why I'm a writer. I'm very emotional. I have a lot to say in my mind. There's so much that goes on in my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, so I just write it all down.
That's part of self-care.
I know.
Right? Because there's so much up here that you have to write it out.
It's true.
And that's what we talk about all the time,
and
right?
what is it, like 700 or 7,000 thoughts a minute or something crazy like that. I have to find the number now, but there's like a certain amount of thoughts that you have.
Really?
Yeah. So it's like how, of course, we have a lot going on in our mind at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think
so
also
I have to write it down.
Like writing allows you to filter things in your mind that you should be paying more attention to. Energy flows where energy goes, or is it energy goes where energy flows?
Be like water,
Either
I
way.
suppose.
I think when you write down what's on your mind, whether you're journaling or
The good thing, there's so many different ways of writing, right? But I'm a big believer on just blah.
Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah.
All right?
Like writing anything.
Writing, I don't care. Like, do not use logic.
Yeah.
All right? There's okay, so I already said before, I am writing a book. And one of my first editor, she says, just write your vomit draft.
Oh, yes,
Write your vomit draft. It's not gonna look good. You're gonna look over it and you're gonna be like, you're so embarrassed. You don't want to. But that's exactly what I want to push is the vomit draft.
Yeah.
I'm so happy you brought that up because as I'm writing my book entitled Eventually, it's just very difficult for me to put my thoughts and feelings out there on paper because it also involves talking about things that are very difficult for me to talk about. And I find myself as a type A perfectionist too. It's like everything that I say has to be perfect in its own way. And you're right. It's like just vomiting it out and just like
and honor that vomit.
Yeah, exactly.
Honor it, because you know what, you will go back there and hey, you'll cry, you'll laugh, you'll angry, and you'll just like, okay, it's time to move on. And now it's gonna come up to this beautiful page of a chapter or something else. It's gonna blossom into something else, but it has to start somewhere. Okay, and we cannot put the logic and the left brain in there.
Yeah.
So self-care writing advice of the day is vomit your... Wait, honor your vomit.
Honor your vomit.
So what is the most powerful piece of writing you guys have written to date?
Ooh,
that's interesting.
So I actually, you guys don't know this, and this is going to be the first time you're hearing this, but I actually was writing a book as well.
Nice.
I put it down.
Okay, wow, you're just going to reveal it on the podcast, right?
So my most powerful piece that I wrote was writing a letter to my 16-year-old self.
Yes,
and that's how I started my book. Yeah. Was writing a letter to myself. And it was pretty awesome. Just so therapeutic. I forgave myself for certain things, and I told myself I was going to be okay. It's actually beautiful. I wish I had it so I could read it to you guys, because
next time.
Wait, did you finish this book, or you're writing this book?
No, I'm still writing it, but I put it down for a little while, so
That's so beautiful.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked that is because the most powerful piece that I wrote is similar to yours. I wrote to my 4-year-old self, my 9-year-old self, my 14-year-old self, my 19-year-old self, 24, 29, and my 34-year-old self.
Now, question, were these significant years in your life, which is why you wrote to those ages?
I sort of went back 5 years. So 5 years ago, I was 29.
Gotcha.
So
you went back
until I hit 4, which is a very significant age, because I feel that is where, that's when I actually that was the year that I needed to go back and really nourish and nurture that inner child. But that is another podcast, guys.
Yes. And isn't your number 4?
Yes.
Oh, wow,
so my favorite number is 4. And 4 is when my brother passed away, but 4 is also my family's favorite number, so I kind of grew to love that, and it's also a tattoo on my left wrist.
And in my world of angel numbers, 4 is an angel number. 4 literally means angels are surrounding you right in here, right now. So when you mentioned that to me in passing, I had to share that with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
As you guys will notice, our podcast is a little all over the place, but we will try to stick to that topic. There's just so much to talk about with self-care.
Yeah, because it encompasses everything,
it does.
And it can all run in together. But I think we did a good job of keeping it to writing. So how about you? Is it what you're writing now?
So no. Well, yeah. I mean, that whole thing is a process.
You've written some powerful stuff.
My writing. Yeah, it's.
I love the poem that you just wrote.
Yeah.
That one is powerful.
That one's powerful. That was designated. And now, again, from the background of for some reason, my entire clientele for that span of weeks were suicidals. Suicides. Gosh. And I felt that, I felt the need to write this poem about self-love. And I'm a big advocate, obviously, for the power of self-love, self-reliance, self-determination. I mean, I'm a big advocate of the power of self. Right, so that was a very powerful poem.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, it is something that
hit
important
home for me too.
Writing is a way for people who are unable to express themselves verbally or deal with conflict face to face with someone. Writing is a way for them to release that and sort of like put it out there, or even send that letter to someone. It's so powerful. And I think it's a way to, like for me, for example, I have walls around me when I first meet someone, but then gradually I realize I express myself better through writing.
Of course.
I do too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's your truth.
Yes. It's like your voice, your inner voice is like releasing itself on paper. One more thing is that I want to mention before we sign off is making time for writing. I know it's really hard, but one of the techniques that I have, and I want to go around and ask what your techniques are, is my technique is writing on my notes section on my iPhone, because sometimes I don't have my notebook on me and I just have to write something on the go while I'm on the train or just running around. So what are your techniques to ensure that you guys are self-caring through writing?
Okay, I'm just going to be really honest. I don't write every day. I am moved by emotion, so I will find myself writing like a line or something in my phone or something like that. But the discipline of writing is not something that I have. But that's something that I do want. I know that when I do it, I feel great. Yeah. But I don't have
well,
that.
You don't. You know, when we talk about self-care, everyone, it's not like you have to do it.
I know.
It is when you, and again, here we go again with me going back to, do you need to know your energy? Okay, you need to know your energy. It is imperative that you do so. Yeah. Because all the self-care that we speak of, it's not like you have to do it. It's what, you know, what is it at that moment that you need to do? Then do so. Yeah. Right? It's, you know, me, in my case, I have a notebook by my bed.
I do too.
I have a gratitude journal.
I mean, do I write it? No, only when I feel the need to.
Yeah. When you feel the need to vomit?
When I feel that I need to vomit, or when there's a new moon, or when there's a full moon. Yeah. You know, I'm very big on astrology and manifesting. I think we're going to
have one of those sessions as well, because the astrology thing is so new to me, but it makes sense. The one thing that you said about the moon.
Well, yeah, you're 70. The Earth is what, close to 80% water, and so is your body is made of almost the same amount. And so, if the moon can affect the damn ocean, you best to believe you are getting affected. You know what I mean? So this is something that to me is hilarious when I bring it down to that level. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know, and yeah, it's truth. I do have the poem. Do you want me to read it?
Yes. I think we should close off the podcast with the poem. And I think it's a beautiful thing to do. Is there anything else that you guys want to add into? Like, no. One thing that I want to add is there's a journal called the 5-Minute Journal, which is something that I have been using for the last 2 months. It literally takes 5 minutes to write down what you're thankful for. I'll bring it in during our next podcast, and I think it's something that is powerful for people to have if you have time, or at least try to make time.
I mean, it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's only 5 minutes.
I mean, I tell people all the time, 5 minutes. Yeah. Who doesn't have 5 minutes,
and
right?
It says exactly what you said, where, like, you don't have to be thankful for anything in particular. You could just be thankful for waking up. You could be thankful for being alive, for breathing, you know, something.
Those are all
anything obvious. So thank you guys for tuning in to our podcast.
Thank you. So this is a bi-weekly podcast. We'll have one up in 2 weeks. If you have any questions or want to suggest something that you would like us to talk about, you can email us at selfcaretuesdays@gmail.com. Go ahead, Krista, end it with your poem, please.
Okay. Okay, so I dedicate this to all of you, all love. Okay. I no longer hate you. I will love you instead. The viciousness of hate weighs too heavy to carry. Clambering and tripping through the darkness of anger hurts only me. Not another second, minute, hour, or day should be wasted, so I've decided to love you instead. Not for you, but for me. Though I barely recognize its essence, love knew me. Its tiny speck of light made me smile, so I let it be. The warmth of joy illuminated in and around me, inviting me to continue my journey to heal, so I let it be. Love knew me. I followed, and with every determined step, the heavy baggage of the past disappeared. The bright colors and energy of life, my life, embraced me. The decision to be at peace was not taken lightly. I need, want, and should be here in reality. Love knew me. It patiently waited and never gave up on me, flickering its lights towards me. It asked me to dance and touch my heart, unearthing all I have forgotten, that is self-love. I love me. I am worthy. I am enough. My heart sighed in relief, ready to love, be love, and give love. So I send you love instead. Its empowering and contagious energy cannot be contained. I cannot hate you. I have to love you instead.
I let you go happily. Godspeed, au revoir, goodbye. I'll wait for you on this side instead. I invite you on this journey always, to see the speck of light through the darkness. It has and will always shine deep inside of you. Whenever you are ready, your self-love awaits.
I love that.
I love that.
And you said actually something that's key that I would like to end the podcast with is that I am enough.
Yeah.
We are enough. And if you're listening to this, you are enough, regardless of what everyone may, or whatever you may be telling yourself. Not everyone, because who cares about what people think, in my opinion. I'm going to say whatever you're telling yourself, you are enough.
Right.
And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for listening to Self-Care Tuesdays with KKM. We look forward to sharing with you guys again in 2 weeks. If you need to get in touch with us before then, you can head over to our website, www.selfcaretuesdays.com. And all our social handles are there. You can email us, whatever you need. We're here. Thanks again so much for listening. It was fun sharing. We'll talk to you guys soon.